G.I. Joe fans, Joe Motion Videos 82 here. It is time for a G.I. Joe toy review, and today we're going to be looking at the 1985 Airtight. Yes, I finally found him and we are getting to him. This came via viewer request, so yes, I'm finally getting to him. I found him, obviously, right? The last place you always look. Second to the last place. It was in the final bin, or second to the final bin that I looked in. Went through all these bins and I was finding things I forgot that I had. It was kind of nice. So I pulled out a bunch of action figures that I'll be reviewing later. Anyway, Airtight was released as a part of the fourth series in 1985. He was on the shelves until 1987. So he had a good run of 2 years. He was also released through Hasbro Direct. So he came in a bag with a redback file card. Since he had a 2-year run, he came with a variant on his file card, or on his card back, where it had a triple win promo. So if you are a card back variant chaser, that is something to look out for as well. There were only 4 versions of Airtight. There was one released in 08 and 11 and 2013. His original retail price was $2.29. Yeah, Airtight. He was G.I. Joe's hostile environment specialist. Cobra's, well, Cobra really didn't have one until their Toxo Vipers. But Cobra really didn't care about the environment, so none of that really came about until, I don't know, like 1988 when the Toxo Vipers came out. But yeah, Airtight got his debut, really his, they kind of spotlighted certain action figures in cartoons. So Airtight had his moment to shine in a cartoon titled The Germ, where Cobra was working on this germ, as it were, and it got out of control, and it was like the Blob. It just ate everything, and the Joe team, of course, had to stop it. And Airtight and Doc put their heads together and they realized, hey, if we get it to eat apples, which inside of each apple seed there is a small amount of, a very minute amount of cyanide in apple seeds. Very, very minute amount. So if you eat 1 or 2, it won't bother you. But they had to have this germ eat several orchards full of apple seeds, and it would kill it. But Airtight jumped inside this rocket that they built. It was like a hypodermic syringe, and he injected himself inside this germ, and he found 2 eels that were eaten by this germ, and he was swimming around inside this germ It was an interesting episode of, yeah, it's a fragmented story. I'm just going by memories as they're popping up in my head, but you could watch it. All the G.I. Joe cartoons are now posted on YouTube. But anyway, my memories of this guy, he didn't take much time in our playtime. He was kind of a support troop. I do remember my friend John having him. We didn't really play with him much. I saw him and that was it. I don't recall playing with him, but I do remember seeing him out on the pegs quite often, and I did like him because he reminded me of a pilot. And I love pilots. I love anything that I could put in that resembles a pilot and that I could have to fly. He was one action figure that I wanted because of that. And I never really got to play with him, but or purchase him. Because anytime I had money to buy one, I didn't see him, which seemed to be par for the course, so I ended up buying something else. Yeah, it just that cartoon, it really stood out with me. The germ, kind of goofy in a way, but at the same time, it was interesting. So they made him out to be sort of this uber nerd who really loved science, and when he was sitting there waiting to launch, he wanted to double or triple check his math, and he was just really jazzed about getting to do that. So he was putting in these excuse me, equations into the computer. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this review. He's a cool figure. I love the color palette on this guy. He can be an army builder since his helmet doesn't remove. He can't take his helmet off. He would have been great with the Eco Warriors. Too bad they didn't bring him out for that. That would have served them well. Bringing him out for the Eco Warriors. I don't know why they didn't. That was a missed opportunity on their part to do that and to give us another opportunity to have Airtight for that. We didn't see him again until he was released for the Collectors Club. Yeah, he was a Collectors Club exclusive, and that was the next time we saw him. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. He is pretty cool. He came with some interesting accessories. All right, so here he is, Airtight. Let's go ahead and take a look at his file card here. It says Hostile Environment, codename Airtight, file name Schnur Kirk, serial number 307-426-4683, primary military specialty CBR, which is chemical, biological, and radiological warfare. Secondary military specialty ordnance. Birthplace New Haven, Connecticut. He is an E4, which means he is a specialist. Middle paragraph reads, Kurt was a kid who could hold his breath the longest. He was also the kid who had the largest collection of plastic dinosaurs on the block. He was the weird kid who grew up to be an even stronger or stranger adult. It takes a mighty weird person to walk into a cloud of toxic gas strong enough to fell a mutant weightlifter, cockroach, mutant weightlifter cockroach wearing a protective suit built under a contract for government by the lowest bidder. Okay, that's kind of overkill. Airtight, bottom paragraph in a quote, it says, "Airtight is an unreformed practical joker. Sneezing powder, plastic barf, whoopee cushion, the whole bit. No prank is too low for him. You'd think that the other Joes would hate his guts, but they don't. Because when the bad guys escalate the firefight and start playing dirty, it's old Airtight who suits up and wades into the thick of it." Okay. So he's a uber nerd who plays a lot of jokes, but steps up to the plate when it comes down to it. Okay. So he's an alright guy. I love this picture. This is awesome. The card art is what really sold it for me on a lot of action figures and play sets. The artists with these were just phenomenal. This is great. This kind of looks like water moccasin or copperhead, doesn't it? But really cool. I love the survival pack here, the biomechanical, whatever you want to call it. But you see, this was the triple win second edition card. It would have had an H1 down here in the corner as the second run. But anyway, let's take a look at his accessories. Came with this very unique backpack, and this hose. Just another weird accessory to really tick us off to get lost. Very common to get missing accessory. This hose plugs right into the back of his helmet. This is a this feeds air into his helmet, slots into the back of his helmet, and just plugs into his backpack. This is an air tank. You can see it has intake fans, and this feeds him air. It also has this hose, which is attached to his air sniffer. Not really sure which direction it's supposed to be held in. Some people have him holding it in this direction. A lot of times I just have him hold it in this direction. I would have him use this as a laser. What few times I did play with him. Also could be a vacuum cleaner if you want to be really creative with it. You know, a vacuum cleaner attached to a backpack. But this would test the air. It would suck up the air into the backpack, and he could analyze it. Very cool, futuristic looking piece of equipment. Pretty nice. I like the backpack quite a bit as well. But the hoses are just the beginning of the bane of collectors. You know, easily lost. So looking at Airtight, very cool action figure. I love the color palette on him. The yellow chemical suit. This would be kind of either a cloth or a rubberized vinyl suit. Rubberized boots, and very thick rubberized gloves, depending on what environment he would be going into. This chest box is a would be some sort of a filtration device, I'm sure. Futuristic looking, pretty cool. It's attached to a vest that goes around to his back. There's a hose that wraps around to the back there. He has bellows pockets on both legs. This very cool helmet with a face mask on the front, and these nice little straps or stripes down the helmet to kind of break up the green on the helmet. Pretty basic, but at the same time the colors work with him. I love this. I just love the colors on him. It works real well. It stands out. A very good looking action figure. I like this guy quite a bit. Yeah, I liked him as a kid, and I like him even more as an adult. You know, like I said, you could see why I think he would be a pilot. He looks like a pilot. So you could definitely army build him, since he is pretty nondescript. I enjoy having him as a part of my collection. So thank you for referring him as for this review. I do appreciate that. All right, so there we have it. Airtight. Great looking figure. I really forget just how cool he is until I start looking at him again. It's very, very nice. One of the better figures from 1985. For me, he ranks up there with Alpine Bazooka, you know, for the Joe team. I do like him. The accessories are pretty cool as well. Aside from that hose, it's a nice addition, but you could do without it. It's just something small to get lost, like Dusty's bipod for his machine gun. Very tiny. Those things were so annoying. You open it up out of the package and it's gone in 10 minutes. I remember getting my Dusty for Christmas and that bipod was gone the next day. So tiny. So definitely a nice action figure. I do recommend that you guys pick one of these up. He's not very expensive on the aftermarket. So grab one if you don't have them in your collection. So anyway, if any of you have a suggestion for another review, please let me know. If I have that action figure, I will be happy to review that. And please share your stories if you have one about Airtight. I would love to hear that. And anyway, I will go ahead and let you guys go. Remember, be kind to everyone, be kind to yourselves, and be kind to your animals. They know nothing but unconditional love. This is Joe Motion Videos 82 saying goodbye for now. We'll see you next week for another G.I. Joe toy review. Bye-bye.